Hi everyone, John Cottrell here of MBODY Yoga, and this is Soft Flow Yoga. This is a 60-minute gentle yoga practice. Thanks for joining me. So our practice today is simply called twists and rotations, and that's exactly what we'll be doing today. So I have a variety of twisting postures that we'll do in a safe way, and also done with some props. One of the props we'll be using is actually something that will help you balance just a little bit. This is actually optional, so I just pulled in my chair for one of our standing twisting postures. We will be balanced on 2 feet. We won't be balancing on 1 foot for this balance, but just to give you a little extra support if you need it. And that can be a chair, table, wall, anything like that. So that's one of our props that we'll be using for our practice. And of course, our usual for soft flow, something soft that you can sit on or kneel on. And that's my nice blanket I have here. That could also be a towel that you can fold or roll up. And then some yoga blocks, something firm that you can use. Now this could also just be a good pillow, a nice soft pillow, or even a firm pillow like my bolster if you happen to not have a couple of yoga blocks or some hardbound books. And this is my yoga bolster, and again you can use that instead as well. So let me just move my chair out of the way. And let's just meet together in a seated posture to begin our practice. So sit comfortably here on something soft. That can be your pillow or folded blanket. And just sit up nice and tall. Check in with your body. Maybe a few circles with your shoulders. Some deep breaths in and out. Just to help you settle in and prepare for your moving practice. But of course, we like to start in stillness. So in stillness, feel free to keep your eyes opened. And if they are open, just softly gaze forward or downward towards the floor, or you can close your eyes. This is our time to really connect to the foundation of our yoga practice, and that's the breath. So again, you might take a couple of deep breaths, breathing in fully and completely through your nose to fill up your lungs. And a slow, controlled exhale to completion. You can do that again if you'd like, or just settle into soft, steady breaths. But just want to have an awareness of your breathing. So perhaps breathe in a way where you can feel your breath. With each breath in and out, just feel the rise and fall of your lungs, the expansion of your chest and heart space. Listen to the sound of your breath. And if you can't hear it, just turn up the volume of your breath just a little bit. Very good. And to bring a little bit more sensation and awareness to your breathing, let's inhale in a way where you can feel the breath rising upward. Just imagine it was sitting in your belly and you're pulling it upward to fill up your lungs. Feel that expansiveness. Followed by that slow and controlled exhale, and as you release the breath, draw your navel inward towards your spine, just a little pulling in feeling. You might do that with that pull or that light contraction of your abdominal muscles. So again, an inhale to feel the lengthening of your spine, perhaps sitting up a little taller, and the expansion of the chest and lungs, just spreading across the chest from shoulder to shoulder. And the exhale, just drawing belly in. Very good. In a moment, we'll add a very simple movement to this breathing sensation. So perhaps just 2 more breaths while seated in stillness. And then when you're ready, inhale and extend your arms out and all the way up towards the ceiling. And once you reach upward, feel a nice stretch along the sides of your body. And then as you exhale, extend your arms out. Even imagine you're going to touch the walls on either side of you, completing the exhale, bringing your arms down to your side. Then again, an inhale, reaching outward with some effort, then all the way up, Feeling that lengthening through the spine and side bodies. Exhale, reaching out. And the arms coming back down to your side. And just continue on your own. Breathe and move at your own pace. And again, you can do this with eyes opened or closed. As you're able, allow the breath to move your body. Allow your breath to move your body. Imagine you are blowing up a balloon, and the air that is filling up the balloon allows it to expand. And that's the kind of feeling you want to have here. As you inhale, your arms want to naturally float out and up. Notice the sensations in your shoulders, just allowing the arms to go up, feeling the lengthening through the arms and side bodies. Don't forget about the energy in your hands and fingers. As we reach up into the air, we're creating some space. That's going to help with some of our twisting and rotations today. So go ahead and finish the breath that you're on and take 2 more breaths. Go at your own pace. When you're done, you can just bring your arms down to your side, just resting here. Take a breath or 2. Notice how your shoulders are already beginning to relax. And we're going to stay seated like this. We're going to do a few side bends, again creating a little bit more length through the sides of the body, and do our first rotation. So if you need to stretch out the legs, if your legs are crossed, you need to stretch them out, please do that, and then return to your seated position. Now you can use blocks for this if you'd like. I'm just going to have a block on either side of me. Like this, I think will work. I'm going to do a side bend. So I'm going to go to the right side. Hopefully I'm mirroring you okay. So I'm just going to go ahead and take my right arm, and just like I was leaning on an armchair, I'm just on the side of my block here. So I'm just kind of just resting just like this. And then with the energetic left arm, just an inhale to extend it out, hold on the exhale. Then inhale, take it all the way up into the air, reaching nice and high for the ceiling. And exhale to slightly bend over to the right, just like that. And so you can feel this down through the left side of the body there, just like that. And as you're reaching through this hand that's in the air, as best as you can, feel that left hip. Just try to really settle down closer to the floor. Just be aware if you're leaning and everything is kind of lifting off the floor from that side, you want to feel like this rooted sense in that left side as you're stretching. You want to really feel like you're moving in opposite directions here. All right, just one more breath in and out, in stillness, and then we'll come out of the pose. And then the next breath, and inhale to, I'm just pressing into that block to help me sit up nice and tall. Then the exhale to bring that arm back down to the side. And maybe even shake it out if you need to, but just let that all release. Let's continue working towards the right. We're going to make our twist here. I'm just going to move my block just out of the way, taking right hand and placing it kind of behind me. I'm just going to push into the floor to help the torso stay nice and tall. Okay, now then with the left hand, again, just reach it across the room like this. Inhale, feel tall, and that arm's extending. As we exhale, just draw the belly in and feel the whole torso begin to turn a little bit towards your right until you naturally stop. You don't need to turn very far. So that's where I naturally stop. Then we're going to take this free hand and place it over here on the right knee just to hold you in place. Now, I like to do that on purpose so that we don't put the hand here first, because there can be a tendency to pull yourself into the pose. What we want to do here is just feel the musculature, okay, of the body, allow you to turn, okay, and then hold here using breath. So each inhale, we're still sitting up as tall as can be. Exhale, just draw belly in. Because we're in this rotation, we're actually engaging another part of the abdominal system, and that's the obliques. Alrighty, let's just go back in the same way. I'm just going to lift the left hand, take out across the room at the same time, kind of unwinding like that, and just bring the hand down. I'm just going to bring this right hand around to the front, and if you want, shake all that out. Okay, so we did a side bend to the right and a twist to the right. Let's do the other side. So I'm just going to do the same thing, just using a block over here, placing left arm here on my armchair, and extend the arm out. Let's just inhale, reach a little bit more, hold on the exhale. Inhale, take this right hand up into the sky, nice and tall. Then the exhale, start to reach over the body. Okay, stay here with breath. Same thing, we want that right hip to feel like it's moving downward towards the floor rather than trying to lift away from the floor, since we're leaning and reaching over to the left like this. And then take a couple of deep breaths, and what you may want to imagine is you're trying to breathe into the right set of ribs and expand that lung on that side. Getting a little stretch also through the muscles that support the body. Let's get ready to move. Maybe just take one more breath here in stillness. And ready to move. Here we go. And inhale to come back up, reaching into the air. And exhale, we'll bring the arm all the way back down. You can kind of shake that out if you'd like. Now we're ready for our rotation. We're taking the left hand, just placing it somewhere behind you, just so you can press into the floor to feel tall. You still are facing forward here. Nice and tall, well lengthened through the torso. Let's take the right arm out to the side. Here we go. We're inhaling to continue that extension. Also sit up a little taller. Exhale, draw belly in, and start to rotate until you just naturally stop. And when you have stopped, we can go ahead and bring this hand around, holding on to the knee or thigh just to hold you in place. You can just stay just like this. Really no need to go any further. What you may do instead, if you need to, is actually soften the rotation. If you feel like you've gone too far, you can always unwind a little bit. Any angle is fine here because you have obviously turned your torso. Twisting poses are great for kind of stretching, okay, and lengthening and opening, even releasing kind of the sides of the body right down to the hips, so that these are nice hip openers. And because we're holding and breathing, that exhale, because we have to contract the abdominals a bit, also helps you to build strength. All right, let's get ready to come out of the pose. I'm just going to lift my right hand and just open up until I'm facing forward, and I can bring this hand down to the side. And that's it, okay? So our first twist, and we'll move on from here. I'm just going to move my blocks over here. I'm going to turn sideways. You can just continue to face me. Let's take our back bend. So go ahead and take your hands behind you. Just lean back into the fingertips. Roll the shoulders back to help open up through the chest. Together, we'll inhale. Just press into the ground with the fingers. To the energy in your arms. Breath rising to fill up your lungs. As the breath is rising, just gently tip the chin up just a little bit, not too far. Then exhale. Again, pressing into the earth with the fingers. Breath rising, filling up the lungs. That same expansiveness that you want to feel across the chest. Exhaling, drawing belly in, and as you're able, squeezing your shoulder blades together behind you. Just providing a little bit more support in the upper back body. And of course, when the belly draws in, we're supporting the low front body. Chin is just tipped up a little bit, just to create a little bit more space for your heart area. Okay, one more breath in and out. And then just lower your chin so your head and neck are neutral. Walk your hands towards yourself so you're sitting up tall, and your arms can once again rest in your lap. Just hold for a moment as everything comes back to alignment. Let's take our forward fold. Here's where we want to uncross the legs, reposition them so that your feet touch and the knees are opened outward. And here's where you want to use your books or blocks or even some small pillows so your legs can rest. Just holding onto your ankles or shins. It's an inhale to grow even taller. Exhale, draw belly in and start to hinge forward, leading with the heart and chin just a little bit, not too far, maintaining as best as you can that lengthened spine, so a nice straight line just at a new angle. We'll inhale here, feel the lifting and lengthening of the torso. Exhale, draw belly in, really for support as you hinge forward a tiny bit more. Now you can stay just like this, not going down too far, especially with the flat back, because the movement might be limited. But if you want to go a little deeper without forcing the body into a pose, you can certainly lower your chin a little and then even round your spine. And that will give you a lot more space in the spine and hips to go lower without compromising the sensation. We'll just hold here for a few more breaths. Just breathing deeply in and out. How about 3 more breaths? So we just did a back bend and a forward fold, also creating a little bit more space through the torso to help complement our twists and rotations. If your back did round, let's start by lifting the chin a little bit. That will help to re-extend the spine. Even use your hands pressing into your mat to help support your body as you lift back up to a nice tall seated position. Just pause here for a moment. Then we'll get ready for our next pose. We'll move our props out of the way. We want to come to hands and knees. So just swing around carefully. Use some padding here if you need it for your hands and knees. And just form our tabletop position. Let's get some movement in the low back and pelvis. Cat pose and cow pose. It starts with cow pose. It's an inhale to lift head and heart. A little arching of the back. Exhale, round it out. Just a couple more times. Feel the lifting of the chin, opening of the heart, creating that U shape or back bend feel in the body. As we exhale, we pull belly button up towards spine, tuck chin in towards chest, rounding the spine. Just do as many as you'd like and take the pace that you desire. Really want to feel that undulation of the spine, getting some good movement. But because of the rocking of the pelvis, we're creating a bit more space in that lower region. Go ahead and finish the breath that you're on and go ahead and take one more. And when you're complete, just pause in this tabletop position. Make sure your neck is neutral so your gaze is probably straight down between the thumbs. And if you are using a pad here, go ahead and crawl off your padding. Let's set it to the side, clearing our yoga mat, getting ready for our next pose, downward facing dog. So from our tabletop position, step your hands forward slightly, spreading out your fingers as you do so, getting a nice stretch between each finger, and then press into the mat, lean into the hands, flattening the palms and adding some more energy through your straight arms. Hold that posture. Tuck your toes under. We'll do one more cat-cow. Inhale, lift head and heart, creating that back bend. Exhale into cat pose, rounding the spine. Hold the sensation. Lifting the knees off the ground, sending your hips up into the air. That'll be our inverted V shape we know as downward facing dog. Feel free to adjust the feet, even your hands if you need to help you settle into the pose. Just one more deep breath in and out while we're upside down. Make sure your head and neck feel relaxed. And then we're going to step forward. So take as many steps as you need, maybe to the center of your mat until your feet are flat on the ground underneath you. You might need to slide your hands or fingers toward your toes, and you'll be in forward fold for a moment. Then we'll inhale, slide the hands up to your shins or knees to lift up just halfway. So we form this 90-degree angle essentially, nice flat back. Feet are rooted into the earth, an even distribution across the feet, okay, from left to right, right to left, but also kind of forward and back from toes to heel. Really solid on the ground. A good bend in the knees. You might even feel this in your hamstrings. Core kind of automatically engages. You don't have to force that because this is also helping you to hold the posture. Okay, ready to stand. Just now we start to lean back. Put some energy and weight into your heels so you can easily tap your toes. Bend your knees like you're sitting down into a low chair, lifting your chest and chin. Take your arms out to the side like you're spreading your wings to fly. Then press heels into the floor to straighten the legs. Now you're standing nice and tall. Reach up into the air. Good stretch. Exhale. Let's bring your arms down to the side. If you'd like, you can roll out the shoulders, maybe get a nice circle in the elbows, get into the wrists and fingers, since we did some work on our hands. Let's do that one more time. Our half salute to the sun where we go down and come right back up. Taking your time, inhale, let's sweep the arms out and up. Another nice stretch. Exhale, spread your wings, bend your knees, sit back into your imaginary chair. Your back will be flat initially, and then it'll start to round naturally. And your hands can come down to your shins or lower if it feels okay. Just bend your knees. Then inhale, slide your hands up the legs a bit so you can extend the spine as fully as possible so you're parallel to the floor. We'll hold here on the exhale. Find that even distribution of weight in the feet, holding for a breath. Long, flat tabletop position. Energize legs. Shifting weight now into your heels. Bend your knees like you're sitting. Lift chest and chin. Spread your wings. Inhale, let's stand up tall. Reaching higher than before. Exhale, arms return to your side. All right, well done. All right, now we're going to pull in that chair. And again, this is optional. First, we'll do our variation of Warrior One. But from our Warrior One, we're actually going to twist that posture a little bit, okay? And if you need a little extra balance and support, that's what the chair is going to be about, or a table, a wall, anything like that. Okay, so I'm just going to stand in front of my chair here. So variation of Warrior One. We like to start with soft knees, so bend your knees, keep them bent. Start shifting your weight into your right foot. Root strongly into the floor. Now you might lean forward if you need that support of the chair or table. You can do that. And start tapping the left foot back. You'll be on flexed toes with heel lifted initially, knowing that still there's some weight forward. We got this prop in front. We'll have a lot of weight in this front foot, but we're going to find our center by pulling back. Turn that left foot outward so you can plant the foot and just shifts you into this nice little pocket, okay? Place your hands on your hips, push pelvis down to get long in the torso so you can easily turn to face mostly forward. Then an inhale, reaching into the air. Exhale, bend elbows to about 90 degrees. So this is our variation of Warrior One. It's a lunge with not too much distance between the feet. Instead of having straight arms up into the air, which often can fatigue the shoulders quickly, we're bending the elbows. All right, now we're going to inhale and shoot the arms back up into the air. Exhale, bring your arms down to your side. Now we're going to keep this lunge. Now you might need to step forward, or if you've got a movable object here, like the chair, I'm just going to pull it in, because this is what I'm going to be using to help me rotate. And again, you may not need this, okay? So what I'm going to do here is just place my left hand on the prop here, or even just keep it down by your side. I'm extending my right arm out to the side. You can't see my arm, but it's out to my right side, directly out as parallel to the floor. Now I'm just going to inhale and just try to stand up as tall as I can, more length through the torso, making more space through the belt line. And exhaling, starting to turn to the right until I naturally stop. Now, the hand on the prop is, like I said, is optional. But you can treat it like we did earlier, seated on the floor, when maybe your arm is down by your side, and just moving on your own, where you lift up, turn until you stop, and then that's your rotation, just using your own musculature to help hold you in place. Okay, now this right arm might be feeling fatigued here. So we're going to come back to face forward. You can even bring this right arm forward, and then just down to your prop or down to your side. I'm going to lean forward. I'm still using my prop here to step forward up to the top of the mat. Alrighty? So next time, let's say I don't have anything to support me. We'll do that same pose. Starting with our variation of Warrior One that will rotate. Soft knees, put weight into left foot, root. Lean forward a little bit, just use gripping of the toes on the mat for balance. Picking up the right foot, tapping it back till it naturally stops. Heel lifted, flex toes. Shifting the weight to center, pivot or turn that right leg so the heel is on the floor, finding your center here. Place hands on hips, push pelvis down as we get tall through the torso. We've made that space, facing forward. Inhale, let's extend both arms up into the sky. Exhale, bend elbows. Hold. Just a few breaths here. Now, of course, we will be doing the pose again. We'll be doing another variation of the posture that will feature certainly more space between the feet, and the arms will be extended. Let's get ready for our twist. We'll take an inhale to reach both arms up, Exhale, bring your arms down to your side. Okay, we're still in this lunge. I'm just going to keep my right arm just relaxed by my side. Extending my left arm directly out to the left side. Inhale, feel tall. Exhale, draw belly in and rotating to my left. I'm just going to keep this arm out here. Okay, my right hand pretty free, just down by the side, just rotating. And because I'm twisting to the left, I'm rotating away from the right leg. Okay, so there's a little bit of lengthening through the right hip flexor. Ideally, the hips are square and facing forward for this twist. All right, we're going to inhale, getting tall. Exhale, unwind, facing forward. I'm just bringing this left arm forward. I'm facing forward, and then down to the side. I'm just going to shift my weight forward to step into mountain pose. Okay, and that's it. So that's our standing lunging twist. Again, featuring keeping hips square, so facing forward. So it's just an upper body rotation. I'm saying that now because that's what we really want to try to accomplish in our rotations to get the most out of it. So rotating from the waistline up. All right, back to our mountain pose. Let's make our flow down towards the earth. Let me just adjust my mat quickly. Here we go. Inhale, sweep the arms out and up. Exhale, spread your wings, bend your knees, sit back into that imaginary chair, folding carefully for the rounding of the back. Fingers come down, let the head go heavy. Inhale, slide your hands up to your shins or knees, rising to your flat back. Exhale, folding, rounding the spine, bend your knees even more until you can reach the floor with your hands or fingers and start walking the feet all the way back to the back end of your mat until you are in plank pose. Just draw that straight line like this. We're breathing in. Exhale, bend your knees a little, send your hips right up into the air, into downward facing dog. Here you might need to step forward a little bit so you can really experience the height of the hips in the air. Let's continue. Going for Warrior 1, version 2. Inhale, picking up the right foot, extending the right leg straight back. It doesn't have to lift high. Exhale, bend the right knee significantly. Bring that knee in underneath you towards your chin or chest as you shift your whole upper body forward. This takes a lot of strength. You'll build strength by doing this. And then go ahead and set the right foot down, heel lifted. And then set the left knee onto the floor. We're shifting our weight back enough to take the weight off the hands so we can easily reach back, pick up the right foot, and place it up higher on the mat, kind of near where your right hand is. Relift the left knee. We can already see there's more distance between the feet, ready for our second version of Warrior 1. I'm going to pivot left heel to the floor behind me, rising up to fingertips, really to help lift the upper body to extend the torso. We want the crown of the head to point directly forward, just as your right set of toes are pointing forward. With some good pressure in that back foot, we're hinging from hips, rising up, facing forward. Take the arms out and up into the air. And just hold here. Maybe just lunge a little deeper. Because there's more distance between the feet and that leg is behind us, you might feel a little bit more happening in this left hip flexor. We are going to do a twist here. So go ahead and bring your arms down, but bring your hands to your hips. Use your hands to actually push with a little bit of effort, not too strongly, but settle the hips so they still are pretty square. Okay, your left hip might be slightly behind. That's fine here. But feel tall. Make space in the belt line. Inhale. Exhale. Start to turn to your right. Now I can feel I'm not turning very far at all. Okay, so just notice how much you rotate. Again, we're twisting away from this back left leg. Maybe a little bit more sensation in the left hip flexor. Okay, it is a twist. You may not feel it so much in the side bodies, but more in that left leg. Go ahead and face forward. Then another inhale, taking the arms up into the air. Exhale, turn torso towards your left side of the room as your arms come down to parallel. So we're in Warrior 2 here. If you need to adjust the feet, I can feel my feet are pretty wide here. This feels fine for me, but you can always kind of shift and adjust that as you need to. Side angle, let's reach out to angle the upper half of the body like this. Rotate the arms so your right hand's coming down. It might land on the inner right leg, while your left hand reaches straight up. and an action of reaching in these opposite directions. Good extension through the arms, but an opening through the whole front side. And because this left arm's in the air, you might even feel some lengthening through the left side. You might even mimic what we did earlier in the seated position, taking this left hand overhead while your left foot presses into the floor. There's more extension. Now we're going to come back up to a warrior two. Relax the arms. Turn to face forward. Carefully fold, hands out front so your hands can come down to the floor. Rise up onto your tiptoes behind you. This is going to square out everything, nicely aligned through the hips. Push hands strongly into the ground so that you can slide or step the right foot back behind you. It's a return to plank pose. We're going to pause for a moment, bring knees to the floor. Okay, scoot over to your left side of the mat. Okay, just on the edge here, and then sit back onto your heels. But we're just going to slide off to the right side. Okay, so I'm actually right at the moment I'm sitting on the floor, but this does displace the hips a little bit. Okay, I'm going to turn I'm going to face this way so you can see what's happening. When I sit off to the side, and this is what we do want to have happen, but it does displace the hips, and for me this isn't very comfortable. Okay, so what I like to do is just bring in just a little bit of cushioning, and in this case it's just my blanket, just to give me a little bit of height right there. This feels a little bit better on my back. So both hands are on your right side. Use your hands or fingers to help press and lift. Get as tall as can be. It's okay if you're at a bit of an angle. We're inhaling and exhale another rotation until you stop towards the right side. Okay? So this is kind of getting into that lower region around the belt line or just above the belt line as you rotate. Kind of a mermaid style of sitting, okay? Because the hips are kind of displaced, we're not evenly seated, so it does affect more of that pelvic region and low back. Okay, stay right where you are. I'm just going to turn my body around again. Since we're twisted to the right, crawl your hands directly out to your right side. That'll kind of get you out of this sensation. And then use your hands and kind of lift yourself up until you're on hands and knees facing the front of your mat. And I move my blanket. And then scoot over to your center. We'll get ready for the other side. So let's step the hands forward a little bit. Spread out your fingers. Press into the mat. Strong hands, strong arms. Tuck toes. With an exhale, lift your knees. There's our hips up into the air. Make your adjustments. We're ready for the other side. So a big sequence. Inhale, pick up left foot and extend the left leg back. Exhale, let's bend this left knee, bring it in underneath you, shifting forward. Shoulders will end up aligned over the wrists. We'll set the left foot down, heel lifted. We'll set the right knee down. Pulling back a little bit, lightening the hands. Let's go get the left foot, pick it up, place it up a little higher, closer to the left hand. Relift the right knee, pivot right heel to the floor. Rise to fingertips so you can shift the weight back because we do want that same kind of balance and alignment of weight and energy in both feet. Elongate through the torso, out over the thigh. Crown is pointing in the same direction as your big toe. From here, an inhale to rise straight up, facing forward. Arms float up into the air. That's an inhale. Exhale, just lunge into this. Holding for our second variation of Warrior One. Noticing what's happening in the body, especially in that right hip flexor perhaps. We are going to do that same twist, bringing the hands down to your hips, pushing pelvis down as you feel a little taller up top. As we exhale, returning to the left side. Again, it may not be too much of a rotation, but where is this rotation originating from? It's not so much in the hips, because your hands are on your hips and they probably didn't turn much. So this rotation is probably more in your mid-back, maybe upper back a little bit. So we're just finding all these little different regions along the spine that actually turn. Let's come back to center, facing forward. Inhale, take both arms straight up into the air. Exhale, turn torso towards the right side of the room, bringing your arms down to parallel. Here's our warrior two. Make the adjustment with your feet if you need to. Side angle, let's reach forward to angle the upper half of the body. I don't go too far for this. Rotating the arms. My left hand is right against the thigh. Could be your forearm. You might even be lower where it's more like your elbow, but up high is just fine. Remember that nice extension, reaching high, reaching low to open up through the torso. Let's get that side stretch going by reaching the right hand overhead. As we reach over in the same direction as the toes, the right foot is pushing into the floor so we get that nice little extra stretch quality. We're going to come back up to our warrior two. Bring the arms down. Turn forward. Start to fold, hands out front to catch yourself, hands on the floor. Press into the floor with the hands. Don't forget to come up onto your tiptoes behind you. I call this a runner's lunge to nicely align the body. That pressure in the hands so you can slide the left foot back, plank pose. We're going to do that mermaid twist again. Set the knees onto the floor. You might scoot over to your right edge of the mat. Sit back into hero. And then slide off the heels to your left side. If you want to use that blanket or towel for a little extra support, you can do that. And then both hands are on your left side. I'm propped up on my fingertips because I want to get as tall as I can. So I'm just pressing into the ground, get nice and tall. And exhale, I'm just twisting to the left until I just naturally stop. Right there is just about right. This feels pretty good for me. Okay, like I said, I like to use this little prop, just the blanket, just to give me a little extra lift so that my hips don't feel too displaced here. And that doesn't feel good for me at least. And it creates that stress that I don't want in a yoga pose. So that's why props come in handy. They've worked very nicely to help support the body. Okay. So a couple more breaths in this twist. All right, this is a little bit more dynamic as far as the position that we're in, but to come out of the pose, we want to soften. So we're just crawling out to the left side. I'm just kind of leaning, and that takes that sensation away from the hips, and then crawling right back up to my hands and knees. You can go ahead and adjust yourself so you're in the center of your mat. And since we're here, another set of cat and cow. So lifting head and heart, arching the back, feel the pelvis tip back. There's our back bend, cow. Exhale, round it into cat. And do that a few more times on your own. Sitting displaced like that does exactly that. You might feel a little displaced. So this just gets us back into alignment with some nice free flow. Finish the breath that you're on. Take two more. We're going to come back up to a standing position and do another twist. So when you're complete, just pause in a tabletop position. Let's set ourselves up once again for down dog. Step the hands forward, spread out your fingers, press into the mat. Tuck your toes. With a good exhale, lift your knees and your hips. Adjust the feet if you need to. Even in down dog, you want to keep a good bend in the knees that will allow your hips to lift up nice and high. Relax your head. We'll step forward until we're in the center of the mat. Feet flat on the ground. Slide your fingers towards your toes. It's a deep forward fold. Slide your hands up to the shins or knees to rise up halfway, flat back. Right there, hold as we did earlier. Then shifting weight into your heels, bend your knees like you're sitting, tip chin up. Spread your wings, stand up tall with an inhale, reaching into the sky. Exhale, arms return to your side. Very nice. Go ahead and shake all that out if you'd like. All right, so we're going to do a chair pose with the twist. Very common twist that we do in yoga. And I like to use a block for this, because this could be a block, maybe a book that's not too heavy. It can even be like a sofa cushion or, a small pillow. Just to squeeze. And what we want to do really is just to remind ourselves of center. Okay, so squeezing towards our midline, which is our spine. So squeezing inward, and by squeezing the block, it stabilizes the hips. Remember what I said earlier. Okay, we want to keep the hips in place, just like this, and just rotate the upper half of the body. Doing our best to keep this alignment. That's what we want to do in this chair pose with a twist. So I'll face you for the beginning of this. So you got your block. We're going to inhale, take the arms up into the air. Exhale, take chair pose. Stay right where you are, because I'm just going to turn sideways to show you that I'm not sitting very far. I'm not going down too far. Bringing hands to heart center here and maintaining a nice lengthened spine. We still have a good hold of the block. I'm going to face you. Okay? Feet are firm on the floor, nicely balanced. Squeezing the block. Just as you're squeezing the block, you're pulling your belly button up toward your spine. That should stabilize the whole lower half of the body, ready to rotate just the upper half. You see how I kind of turn my hand? I don't know if you can see that, but it's like a dial. We're just going to turn the upper body like it was a dial. Inhale right where you are. Exhale, squeeze the block, pull belly in a slight, gentle rotation to your right side. Okay, that's the dial turning. Another image I create in my head is like you're holding, let's say, a bottle that has a twist top. And so you're holding on to the bottle doesn't move, you just want to twist the cap. That's what's happening here. Bottle doesn't move, that's the lower half. Just the cap, that's your upper half, that's rotating. Even just a little bit. And holding it. Breathe in right where you are. Exhale, unwind, coming back to center. Place hands on thighs. Push into your thighs to help you stand nice and tall. Let's continue stretching and lengthening through the body by taking the arms up into the air, and then arms can come back down to your side. Shake that out. You can even remove the blocks if you need to, just if you need to kind of stretch out the legs. All right, so that's our seated or chair pose with the twist. I love using the block here to remind us of our center and squaring of the hips. Okay, other side. Let's inhale, take the arms straight up. Doing that gets that length through the sides of the body. Exhale, take your chair pose. As you're sitting, you can bring hands immediately to heart center. Again, your seat does not have to be too deep. I'm going to go slightly deeper, not much. I barely moved. Inhale, lengthening through the spine. Okay, exhale, pull belly in, squeeze the block, in a slight rotation, turn that dial, okay, to your left side. There we are. Okay, what we want to be mindful about is, I don't know if you can really see me or even just feel this, we want to make sure that when we twist to the left, that your hips don't swing out to the right, like that, okay? It's like you were in a chair, but you slipped off the chair. We don't want to slip off the chair. We're stuck in that chair. Just turn the cap on the bottle. Keep breathing. Inhaling just to extend. Stay here. Exhale, just pull belly in, activating those obliques, getting your strength through the sides of the body. Inhale right where you are. We are now moving. Exhale, unwind. Hands on thighs. Press to help you stand. Grow taller. Both arms up into the air. Good stretch. Exhale, arms to your side. Excellent. Okay, we're done with the block. You can even shake out the legs. We're done with the block, so you can set that down. Let's come back up to mountain pose. We're just going to flow our way down to the earth in a very yogic way. When you're ready, inhale, sweep the arms up into the air. Exhale, spread your wings. We're sitting back into that chair pose again. But keep coming down. Maybe hands come down to shins. You can just kind of slide down the legs. Inhale, slide the hands up the legs to re-extend the spine, flat back. Exhale, melt all the way down. Bend your knees more, let the back round more, let the head drop until you can place your hands on the floor. Take your walks back, feet at the end of the mat, straighten the line in the body. Here's plank pose. Then we're going to bring knees to the floor. Sit back briefly in hero. Sit off to the side. Bring the legs around to the front. Make sure you're sitting in the center of your mat. We need to get into our back bend. Grab some blocks or your books. Make sure they're handy. Go ahead and roll down onto your back. Feel free to hug your knees into your chest. And add some movement here. I usually just rock left and right, but then I'll add kind of a figure 8 sensation here. It feels good on my low back and my hips. And since we were doing some standing and some lunging, you might even circle the feet to get into the ankles a little bit. All right, let's plant the feet into the ground, ready for our bridge pose. Make sure you got a hold of a book, some blocks, or your big cushion to sit on. So we're going to inhale, fill up your lungs. Exhale, empty the belly, lifting hips high enough so you can slide your props underneath you to sit on. Make sure that you're in a good space so it doesn't feel uncomfortable here. You certainly want to be comfortable. Your arms can just kind of be neutral and just kind of out and down by your side. To give it a little bit more energy, you might get the shoulders and arms a bit underneath you. It's almost like you're resting on the backs of your shoulders. Okay, it just brings a little bit more activity in the upper body. Hopefully not too much where it feels like you're putting too much effort into this, because this certainly can be a little bit more relaxing as you hold this posture. But I think getting the arms and shoulders a bit underneath you just opens the chest a little bit more. So some deep breaths. In a way, it's a little bit of a complement to the back bend we did seated, that mild back bend. We were seated, hands behind us, and we kind of were leaning back. Okay, this is a complement to that to open up the front body just a little bit more. About 3 more breaths. After that third breath, just press your feet down into the ground so you can lift your hips high enough to remove your props out of the way. Carefully and slowly return to the earth. And then stretch out the body. Extend the legs out front. Arms reach behind you. Hug both knees into chest. Roll to one side. We're going to press ourselves up to seated. So seated here for a moment. Just sit up nice and tall. Just a little variation of a boat pose, just like this. Actually, you can lean back a little bit. We're not going to be here long. Just to activate a little bit more core work. All right, I have another lunge that we'll do kind of in a kneeling position. Okay, then soften a little bit. We're going to swing the legs behind us, coming back to hands and knees. So here we want to bring in that padding if you want, since we're going to be on our knees for a little bit. Okay, and just come up onto your knees here. So I'm going to sit back into hero, just so I can come up onto the knees like so. I'm leaning a little bit to my right side so I can step the left foot forward. Just like this. Nice and tall. I'm going to lean back and just wiggle the left foot forward just a little bit. So it changes this from a 90-degree angle, just taking that leg a little bit out farther. Just a little bit. Okay, both of my hands are on the thigh. We're just going to get nice and tall. Okay, exhale, hold that length through the upper body. Alrighty, follow me. I'm taking my right hand, you can't see my hand. I'm taking it out to the right side and up into the air. Stay there. Inhale, lift. Exhale, rotate, not using this left hand at all. See if you can rotate a little bit to your left side. I'm even going to drop this left arm for a moment so I don't use it at all. Okay, so I've twisted. I'm bending this right elbow to about 90, but actually below 90, leaning forward just until my elbow is just slightly on the outside of this left leg. And there's our twist. You can even relax the arms. What I'm actually going to do with this left hand is place it on the low back. What you may feel is actually there's a nice flatness here. Good extension through spine. What you want to feel here, I don't know if you can see me, I'm kind of rounded in the back on purpose, but I'm using this elbow on the leg to help extend, some leverage to help extend so it feels like I'm going forward. at an angle, but my back is nice and flat. I'm still in a bit of a rotation here. So that rotation, like some of our other poses, is originating from the middle of the back. Because right down here where my left hand is pretty flat. Okay? I'm going to carefully rise back up, still in the twist, unwind facing forward. Okay, I'm just holding for a moment so everything kind of neutralizes and comes back to center. Now I'm leaning to the right. I happen to have my blocks right here. So I can lean into my blocks so I can bring my left leg back. So I'm on my knees. But I'm going to go to the other side. If you need that prop, that block comes in handy so you can just lean or just hand to the floor or just lean if you've got the balance so you can bring the right foot forward. I'm leaning back and just sending that foot out front, both hands on thigh. Push into the thigh gently just to help support the lengthening of the spine. Hold on the exhale, draw belly in. Don't forget your center work. Okay, my left hand is going out and straight up. That's an in-breath, getting some lift of the whole torso, making space. I'm going to relax my right arm down by my side. I'm inhaling, reaching nice and tall. Exhale, rotating to the right until I naturally stop. Bending elbow to about 90 and then below 90. Hinging forward. So this left elbow, it might just land on the knee, but if you can, just kind of a little hook on the outside of the knee. Again, it's giving us some leverage so we can extend the spine going directly forward. Exhaling, just draw belly in, and we're in a twist. This right hand might just come to the flat portion of the low back. If this feels like it's too much, you can certainly soften the pose or even end the posture and start to come out. Because this has a little bit more significance, more energy, perhaps more sensation. Okay, but I think if we do this safely and pay close attention to good extensions, mild rotations, I think we can do this safely. All right, we're going to rise back up. Unwind. My arms are to the side here for a moment. And then leaning to the left so I can bring that right foot back behind me, returning to the knees. Feeling that nice alignment in the hips now. Bringing hands to the floor and just crawling off of the pad. And that's it. I'm just going to move my blanket, get the blocks over here. Let's return to seated in the center of the mat. Legs out front. Go ahead and roll down onto your back. Hug knees in. We'll finish with a quick twist to both sides. But first, just settle here on your back, knees into chest. Slowly taking both knees over to left side. I'm bringing a block over there. So my left leg actually rests on the block. That can be a rolled up towel or bring in a pillow. So knees to the left, right arm to the right. Now this kind of mimics that mermaid twist. So you might feel this more in the low back and hips. Okay, like I said, we're just trying to rotate in different portions of the back. And it seems like there's been a lot more focus kind of in that low region and the mid-range of the spine with these rotations. Now what you could do to get a little bit more of the upper range through the neck area is if you're looking straight up towards the ceiling, you might gently turn your head towards the right, looking towards your right hand. Now this gets into the cervical spine. That's the neck area. Not so much in the thoracic, that's kind of the upper back area. One more breath. Let's turn our heads so they're looking straight up. Let's come out of our twist by bringing knees up, hug them in towards the body, and we'll get set up for the other side. I'm just moving my block over to the right side. Okay, hugging knees in and then take knees over to the right. They might even reach the floor. That might feel just fine for you. But again, so you don't over rotate, the legs can just rest on that prop so you don't turn too far. Left arm will turn or reach out to the left side. Notice how this feels. Settle in, make some adjustments as needed. You can keep your head neutral, looking straight up, or if you'd like, carefully turning head to the left side to get more of that cervical spine area right up in the neck area. Take some breaths. Two more breaths. And when you're complete, if your head is turned, just return it to center, looking up. Let's come out of our rotation. Hug the knees into chest. One more little stretch here. Let's spread the legs open here. Just to get a little stretch in the inner thighs. And what it also does, it may even relieve the low back a little bit. Since the feet are still free here, maybe some circles with the feet. And then when you're complete, you can just bring the knees back together, set the feet onto the mat, extend the legs out front. We're ready for Shavasana. So extend the legs, let the feet and legs relax, just let them naturally fall open. Arms are just down by your side. Maybe turn your palms up, because that too will get a nice opening in the shoulders. So you have actually good posture lying down. Eyes can remain open, just a soft gaze upward, or close your eyes to go inward as we finish. Focus on the breath, and the breaths can just be soft, slow, and gentle. Really just allowing your whole body and your mind to relax completely into this beautiful meditative state. Return to the awareness of your breath. Just a reminder to stay focused on your breathing. Sometimes it's quite easy to start thinking about new things, different things, moving away from your yoga practice. So just that awareness of the breath, a reminder to come back to the breath, is also a reminder to remain in the present moment. And you're welcome to stay here as long as you'd like, completely relaxed. You can stay here even beyond the time when I finish the practice. When you are ready to move, return to your breath, this time taking 5 slow, deep breaths. As you're breathing deeply, breathing with intention, feel movement return to your body, a new energy returning to your body as well. And then After your 5th breath, just move the body very slowly, taking your time, carefully rolling to one side of your body into a nurturing pose. Carefully press and lift yourself up. Come to a seated position. Feel free to sit on your blanket or pillow. Nice long spine. Cross legs. For the moment, your arms can remain relaxed down by your side. Or you can even bring hands to heart center. Wherever you are, just take one more full breath. And as we come to the close of our practice together, we bow, saying, Namaste.
Thank you so much for watching and participating in this yoga lesson. To help us with the channel so we can continue to bring you more content, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. It's really appreciated. Namaste.